Embroidery is something I've always thought was lovely, but never got a chance to try myself. And for Christmas, I received an embroidery kit from my nanny that I'm very excited to try, so that's today's activity. It's basically a paint by numbers, but with thread instead of paint, with everything already conveniently prepared to make the process smoother and beginner friendly. Well, except for the ring part. That took a while to figure out. Also, some of the instructions didn't feel clear enough to me, but other than that, it's great. This feels kind of hard. Wait, why did it ask me to thread 3 of them? Because I only see one thread being used here. Starting something is always the hardest part, so once I got started, it was almost a breeze from there. I don't understand why it told me to do 3 at once on this page. Maybe just to make sure that they were all cut the same length, maybe? I started with the green leaves as they instruct in the step-by-step guide, but wasn't quite sure what to do once I was done a section, as that's the part they left out. When I'm done with one part, do I like cut them? Or do I do just as much as I can do until I can't do it anymore? I totally thought this would take like maybe 2 sessions of maybe 4 hours each max to do the whole thing. For the first day, I spent about 5 hours doing just the leaves alone and realized I wasn't getting this done as quickly as I thought. I didn't film all the days I worked on it, but it took about 7 unconsecutive days in total to finish it, working on it for somewhere between 2 to 4 hours each day. As frustrating as it sometimes was, I really enjoyed the process of it. I'll definitely be playing around with embroidery more in the future. Hey there. So a few episodes back, I believe it was episode 8, one of the activities was following a makeup tutorial, and as you'll probably remember if you watched that, it didn't go super well. As I explained in that video, I'm very new to learning how to do my own makeup. It's not something that I've ever done a lot of in my life, and I also obviously was very limited with the amount of makeup that I had at my disposal because I don't wear it often enough, so I don't feel the need to own a lot of it. It kind of limited me in terms of my ability to follow that tutorial. So the one thing that was actually good about doing that activity was the fact that I did learn which products I do need to invest in sooner rather than later, and which products weren't so important. So with all of that in mind, I hopped on over to Sakoshi Mart, which is a Asian beauty retailer here in Canada, based in Toronto. They originally, I believe, mostly stocked Japanese beauty supplies, but they've extended it to Korean supplies as well, like cosmetics, skincare, even like fun stuff like plushies and stationery goods and things like that. And they seem to be expanding what they're offering all of the time. So I check them out every now and again, but I've never purchased from them until now because I just never felt I had a need to. But I did have a wish list going of things I wanted. They had a Boxing Day sale that was quite big at the time, so I took the opportunity to purchase several items. And then I purchased a few more when they were doing their Lunar New Year sales. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be opening those, giving them a try, and trying a new makeup look. at the same time. So I'm going to start with the first package I got from them. It actually doesn't have the date listed on it, which is funny, but this was December, but I received it in mid-January, I believe. And it's just been sitting on my desk for weeks. So, oh, I think they threw in this niacinamide B3 source. Also the sensitive Cica cream. That's nice of them to include those. I think it was like just after Christmas. It was like the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas that I ordered these. So I actually forgot what I ordered. So apparently I got the Etude House Drawing Eyebrow in gray brown. Can Make Marshmallow Finish Powder. I had this one on my wish list for months and months and months. And then the Rom and Better Than Palette Light and Glitter Garden eyeshadow palette, which I was very, very excited about. That's another one that was on my list. Then in the second package that I ordered was concealer and mascara. I do remember what was in this package because it was more recent. So I got the Rom and All Fix Mascara Series 2 in Long Hazel. And then I got the same Cover Perfection Tip Concealer. And I remember struggling with this one, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So with those unpacked, we're going to get started. I wasn't quite sure when deciding which concealer I wanted. They had several different colors. I went with the light beige, but I wasn't sure if I should go with the clear beige. So we'll see. I'm hoping that's correct because otherwise it kind of sucks. I can't exchange it or send it back at this point. It doesn't come out very easily. I have these sponges. I only have 3 left. I got these like over 10 years ago for nail art specifically, but they're makeup sponges. It's funny they've lasted me this long. I wish I had better lighting in my room. I might try a different brand after this. I don't like the way this removes. It's not smooth at all. People are saying you don't, like they were saying you didn't need a lot, but I'm actually feeling like this is a lot. Actually, now that I'm looking at it from far away, I am seeing a difference. So, I don't know. Well, give me some time. I wasn't planning on using this much of it. My skin's been acting up. If I get the same one again, I definitely need the lighter shade. It'll work well for what I'm using it for because I'm not using it often enough, but when it's time to replace it, I will get the one shade lighter. Okay, next step. Now going in with the Can Make Marshmallow Finish Powder. The packaging for this is so freaking pretty. Makes me not really want to use it. That's the other thing about makeup, that it's like sometimes the packaging is so pretty that it almost feels like a shame to mess with it. It smells like sunscreen. I love that. I love that a lot. I'm just excited to go like straight to the eye makeup. That's always my favorite part. I feel like it's where you can be the most creative. Okay, eyebrows. I've never felt the need to have my eyebrows brushed in my life until now. This is a whole new world. I don't know if anyone's gonna understand what I mean when I say this, but sometimes I hate taking the packaging off of things because then it doesn't look new anymore. Again, just like with the concealer, I wasn't sure what color would be best, so I decided to go for something that was fairly, like on the lighter end, it wouldn't be too dark. But again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm literally learning as I go, which story of my life. I've learned everything as I've gone along. Art, actually, I guess that's it. That's the only, I guess that's probably maybe the only thing I can think of off the top of my head. How to use the internet, how to type, which is why I type with my forefingers instead of like properly like the way you're supposed to, because I literally never learned how to do that. I just figured out typing on my own as a kid and it just stuck. This seems so dark. to me. My eyebrows don't even look, I don't know how I feel about this just yet, but we're gonna move it along. Okay, so the thing about the tutorial that I'm following right now is that she's using blue based colors, but largely what I have is pink based. So we're gonna work with that and try to create a similar effect. Oh my gosh, like I'm so nervous because it's like I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but also I'm an artist and I feel like I do know what I'm doing, and it's weird. You know what I mean? Okay, let's start with the silver color because that looks like what she's doing. It has a slight blue underbase. It seems like the color that she's using. This one is just straight silver with a lot of, it's just very different colors in there. So that's what we're gonna be starting with. So she's taking like a slightly brown, like a brown kind of glitter color, and she's putting it on the very edges of her eye. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, but I'm gonna do it with this one, the second one in. It's a lighter pink color. Some of these almost just look so large. I'm actually gonna go in with a peachy brown color actually. Turning back to this pink. I just can't see anything when I close this eye, so it's hard. I hate doing eyeliner. It's so difficult for me, again, because I can't see. But we're gonna do our best here. I'm gonna actually, you know what? Just to play it safe, I think I did this last time too. I'm gonna use eyeshadow for this part, just because I don't want to use black. I was going for a lighter makeup look with a medium light brown color, this one in the middle. I think that would look good with the pink. Or should I use a brush for this? I don't think so. Okay, I'm gonna go for it, and we're just gonna hope I don't screw up everything I've already done. Where did that? Oh, this one. This detail brush. This is what I was looking for. I'm not. I can't see it. I mean, she does her liner just with her eye open. I can't understand that. I'm gonna do my best. I just keep trying to remind myself that practice makes perfect. It doesn't make it less frustrating though. So now it's mascara. Now I went with, it's called, I think they said Long Hazel. It's like a more natural shade, which is what I would prefer. I know, well, my lashes are black, but I didn't want anything that looks stark. You know what I mean? So, and especially because my liner is brown, I think this will complement that really well. I'm only gonna do it on the ends. I don't like the feeling of stuff on my lashes. It really irritates me. I feel like I have to constantly rub my eyes, or I have to constantly blink because it feels like my lashes are sticking together. And I've never loved the way thick mascara looks. It reminds me of like spider legs. It's not, I don't find it attractive personally. I wonder if I have a clean one that I can use to separate my lashes a little bit. I could have sworn I did. Oh yeah, I do. It almost, I don't know, because I'm unfamiliar with it. But it almost feels like this, almost like it hardens your lashes, and once it dries, you can't untangle them. So I have one lash here that's like tangled up with a bunch of other ones, and now it's like dried like that. And I can't get it undone. Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna have to stay that way because I can't. This actually is comfortable. It doesn't feel like super sticky. It doesn't feel like I'm really wearing anything. Like I'm kind of feeling it because I was just doing it, but I think as the day goes on, I don't think this is gonna bug me too much, so that's good. Oh, okay, so she's using a sparkly one that goes under the eye to create that sparkle. And that's going to be 10 times easier than what I'm using, but I'm just going to take my detail brush and I'm just going to apply it to, I think, the pink, because I really love the way the pink looks. And I almost feel like I can't get enough of the pink sparkle. It's insane. So one thing I am realizing is that this is more of like a loose glitter. I think if I want like this sort of, I don't know how to describe this, like the tiny glitter that's more liquid glitter, that can go around the eyes, like eyeliner and stuff like that, and can highlight certain areas. I think I need to invest in that next in terms of eye stuff, because this doesn't work very well for getting in there and doing small lines. And then finally she uses a blue glitter on the very corners, but I kind of feel like I've already applied so much glitter to my face it would get a little bit ridiculous. But I think I'm gonna go in with this darker, this chunkier pink here. Maybe it doesn't feel like it made a difference. I also feel like I need to invest in brighter eyeshadow colors that will show up on the skin more. I don't have a lot of lip colors. Oh, this one's a nicer pink. Maybe it's the way that I'm using it, maybe it's the shades, maybe it's the brands, I don't know, but I don't like the ones that I own. Okay, that's that. And then finally, okay, let me see if I can get it in better lighting so you can see it a bit better. I think that'll do maybe. Out of all the ways I could have done my makeup, and it could have turned out poorly, I feel like this isn't the worst case scenario. I think I'm getting there. I think I'm getting the hang of it. I don't think makeup is as difficult or as intimidating as it comes across when you first start doing it. I think I just need to get used to doing it and figuring out what looks good for me and what works well. As you can see, you can still, like through the concealer, you can still see the discoloration that is like directly around my eye. Not this blue line that's new from within the last few years. I'm talking about this like brownish color. Otherwise, I think this looks so, well, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it on camera and it's brighter and I can see it better, I don't think it looks quite, it looks better in person. Can you trust me on that? Because I promise you, it does. It looks a little bit better in person. But yeah. Anyway, I'm learning. So that's what happens. I won't beat myself up about it. And neither should you. If there's anything new that you're trying that you're not quite good at yet, that you feel a little bit awkward in, don't beat yourself up. Everybody started out being bad at something that they're now good at. So with that, we're going to call it a day. I feel like I did okay today. This was pretty good for a second attempt with new materials to work with and play around with, and I think I still have some more discovering to do, and I have a whole new list of new makeup items I want to eventually purchase when I have a little bit of spare money to do so. So that's been kind of fun. I am going to continue to play around with this eyeshadow palette though and see if I can make it work, and keep an eye out for sales on Sakoshi Mart and take advantage of it when the time comes. But that said, that's it for today's activity, and I will see you next week. Let me try to get the sun. There we go. That was weird. Good morning. I look pretty ridiculous right now, but that's because I'm kind of in the midst of getting ready. I'm on a tight schedule, so let's get into it. So to get ready for this, I have showered, I've washed my hair, I've put it up in this sort of heatless curl situation, even though my hair has a curly texture to it. Because of the way that our water is, we live on well water, so my hair is very frizzy and scraggly, and it doesn't take very well once it's dried. It's kind of a mess because of the water that we have. It really affects my hair, so I have a hard time properly curling my hair and getting those curls to stay for longer than like 10 seconds, which is super weird given my hair already has texture to it. But I do find that if I let it dry like this, it does create a curl pattern that does stay for a long period of time. So that's what I am doing. She's gonna be picking me up at 9:30 and it's currently 8:20, and as you can see, my hair is not. This is actually, if I left it like this, it would literally take hours and hours and hours to dry. Last weekend I tested this out to see if it would work, and it did work, but 8 hours later my hair at the back and underneath was still wet. Like, it hadn't dried very much at all. Once I'm fully dressed and my makeup is done, I will be hitting it with the blow dryer and quickly styling my hair. I have less than an hour to do everything else I have to do still, so I actually might have to message her and tell her not to come until 10 to give me that extra 30 minutes to get ready. I got up at 6 and honestly didn't think that all of this would take as long as it did. So here we are. This activity was originally meant to be for the weekend before Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day fell on a Tuesday this year. This would have been for the Sunday before that. And this just kept getting pushed back due to various different things. It kept getting in the way, so an entire month later we're finally doing this. Even though I am not doing this on the right week, I am gonna leave it for this week's activity because I'd have to shuffle all of the other activities around to accommodate it, and that would be dumb and it would be so much more complicated. So it's actually March. So back in August, when my best friend Rachel and I hung out, this is where this idea was born. We were talking about Valentine's Day, and I had mentioned I had never been on a Valentine's date before. Valentine's Day has always been actually more of a family holiday for me rather than a romantic one. It's just turned out that way. And so we were discussing that, and she had said that she's actually also never been on a Valentine's date, like a proper like sit down dinner sort of experience. So we were talking about how we should go on a date for Valentine's Day this year, and to take it up a notch, to kind of have fun with it, we would dress up like really fancy, which neither of us have ever done. Dress up super fancy and go out to somewhere basic like McDonald's or like some Chinese buffet. Like, it would be something like totally not fitting for the way that we were dressed. It was such a fun idea. And so her favorite restaurant is Arby's. I've never been to Arby's, I don't think, ever. So it was agreed that that's what we would do. We would go to Arby's, we'd have a sit down dinner, which would be the first time since the pandemic happened that I'm actually sitting in a restaurant. So it's exciting for a lot of reasons. I've never cut a dress in my life. That felt illegal. As we got closer to Valentine's Day, we ended up discussing what fancy meant for us, so we were both on the same page. And we ultimately decided on a more casual fancy because it just, like, I need time to find a dress I really love. Like, if I'm gonna drop a couple $100 on a dress, potentially, or at least even like $100 on a dress that is like nice, like I want to make sure it's something that I really love and that I will wear for several occasions after this for years to come. So I suggested a more casual fancy because then that way it would be easier for both of us to find outfits a lot quicker, because neither of us own really nice clothes. We're both in like sweatpants and baggy t-shirts and sweaters 90% of the time. So this was going to be a little bit of a challenge for both of us, I think, and I wanted to make it a little bit easier so that this entire thing was a little less stressful. So we decided to table the fancy outfits for our birthday. Our birthdays are a couple of days apart in July, so it would be something we would do for that instead. So I've got, you know, a couple of months to get an outfit together and plan more effectively. We're instead going for breakfast, which I thought was good because then that means I've got like the second half of the day to do all the other things I gotta do today. My parents have a showing this morning that I won't be here for. I'm out of the way. So it works all around. Okay, gotta go. I'm really late. All of that time blow drying my hair for nothing, because look at this, it just ended up all scraggly and the curls really didn't hold. I ended up having to hit it with the blow dryer again after I took the curls out because it was still like wet. And then I hit it with hairspray, but the curls were already starting to fall out because they didn't dry fully that way. And I ended up with this mess. And my nails ended up so destroyed as a result of all of this rushing around in the end. So, lesson learned. I got up like at 6 a.m. hoping to get everything done in time, and in the end I got very little things done in a decent amount of time, and it just did not turn out the way that I wanted it to, which again is a common theme of this series at this point. It almost actually feels right that it didn't go right. The Denny's in town is almost always empty. There's like 3 cars in the parking lot, and all of them are employees for the last like 10 years. But this was a Sunday morning. I'm typically not in town on a Sunday morning, so I've never seen the parking lot that full. Like once we pulled in and I remembered it's Sunday morning, it made sense. But I also wasn't entirely prepared for that. I chose Denny's specifically because they're rarely packed, so that helps with all of my different kinds of anxiety about different things. But also they have really great lighting. They have windows all around, and so it's a lot easier on my light sensitivity if it's natural light. I ended up having to ask because she was going to place this like in the middle of the restaurant, and they had all the blinds down for some freaking reason, so it was really dark in there, and then it was just like the incandescent and the fluorescent lighting, and that's really bad for my sensitivity. I felt really bad to inconvenience them, but I was like, do you have a window seat that we could sit at? And we had to go to the other side of the restaurant where there was a window seat, but of course it was the one seat that the blinds were completely down, and there was no way to like twist them so that they were slightly open to let more light in. But the seats on either end of where we were sitting had the blinds twisted like that. I don't know how they did it because we didn't have a twist thingy, we just had the pull. So like I don't know if I just had to pull it and they would have opened the same way. Now that I think about it, that's probably exactly what I had to do. But it was sort of funny because there was 3 seats, and of course the one that doesn't have the natural light is the one that was available. Like it was just like so many things for me were going wrong today. Everything from me getting ready to the restaurant being more busy than I would feel comfortable with, to the natural lighting that I was literally there for not being available. The other thing too that I do want to say is that like we had a whole plan about us getting all fancy and stuff. She was saying like she was cool with it and stuff, but then when I rush out the door, I look like this. It's not as good as I could have looked if I wasn't rushing, but I thought I did pretty good. I thought I cleaned up pretty nice in such a small period of time. And she's just in sweatpants and a sweater. It's like, I would have showed up in sweatpants and a sweater. Like I would have done the same thing. But the whole point of this was to dress up kind of fancy and go to somewhere just to eat breakfast that isn't fancy. And so so it's just really, it's funny because it ended up being just me. I was just overdressed for the occasion. But I still felt really good about it. It felt really nice for the first time in my life to really dress up, really make an effort to look really nice, or at least look decent, and to go out for a meal. So I didn't even mind that she wasn't fully dressed, because once we got into the restaurant and I realized it was definitely too crowded to film, I would not have felt comfortable doing that. I don't think that I have the YouTube following numbers where I would feel like legitimate enough as a YouTuber to be filming in public. Like I don't know, for me it just feels like there's like a number, you know what I mean? I don't know what that number is, but I feel like I'm not anywhere near there yet. I only have 19 subs. So I didn't feel comfortable, I didn't feel confident enough to film in public, so I kind of scratched that mentally. I wasn't gonna have her film anything for me, so it didn't matter that she wasn't dressed up because she wasn't going to be seen anyway. It was always going to be just me unless she was comfortable with it. But then it was like it really didn't matter after that, because it was too crowded for me to comfortably film anything anyway of us actually out, other than the food I was eating. So yeah. So yeah, this like that was also another way that this didn't work out, was that I was the only one dressed up, so it was just multiple layers of this not working the way I wanted it to. But it's okay, we both had fun. It was no big deal. I wasn't upset about it. She was cool with it. Like everything was cool and it was fine and we had fun. It was just a mess, but like that is so typical for a 52-week activity challenge series activity. none of these things have gone the way I would have planned, so this fell in with everything else perfectly. I almost kind of feel like I should start doing these things, but like not as a part of the series, and maybe it's just a bad luck curse on this series that's happening, and that's why it keeps ending up this way. And maybe if I do things separately from this, they'll turn out well. But anyway, so with that said, that's it for this week's activity, and I will see you next week. Hey there! So for today's activity, we're going to be doing a photo shoot. And if you've watched season 1, you'll remember I already did that. I did an outdoor photo shoot for season 1. And so for this season, we're going to be doing an indoor photo shoot. There's a lot of things I could have done with this. I had so many different ideas, but for time reasons, I decided to do something that's a little bit just basic, simple, that can be done in a couple of hours, and I won't have to, you know, do too much prep work for. So for today, I've washed my hair, I did my nails, painted them just a basic, simple color, and did my makeup, just a really basic sort of look. I'm still not great at eyeliner. I think I spent maybe about 30 minutes doing my makeup, and the majority of that time was trying to get this to look decent. I'm planning on doing them in black and white, so that should hide any imperfections and that kind of thing. It should all kind of blend together in one shade of gray. Anyway, when I filmed the outdoor photo shoot for season 1, that was in May of 2021, I believe. It was like with the lilacs and everything. It was very colorful. It was very bright, and those photos did turn out really nice. I really liked them, and I wasn't wearing really any makeup for that. I was just a little bit of some really old foundation just in spots where I had acne. But other than that, I wasn't wearing makeup, so I thought I would kind of reverse it a little bit. So like my face is a little bit more done, but the set and the photos themselves are a little bit more simple. And instead of them being colorful, they'll be black and white. So I thought that I would play around with that and make it very different from the last time that I did this. So I pushed everything aside from the one wall, because this is my only wall that doesn't have anything on it, so that I could take pictures. These are going to be above the chest, because I do not feel like being perceived anywhere below that. My period's coming up. I'm not feeling too great. I've gained about 15 pounds in the last few months. I'm just not feeling very good about my body right now, and I'm also wearing like sweats. I was originally planning on doing like a big, like very glam photo shoot. I had an outfit planned and everything, and when it came to actually doing it, I realized I just didn't feel like doing something like that. I just felt like I wasn't in the right space for it, you know? So we're gonna be doing something really simple, and it's gonna contrast a lot with season 1's photo shoot outside, so that ends up working out really well anyway. This pile looks so weird. So cringy. Okay. So the game plan here is to actually record a video instead of doing the self-timer, as I can just run through poses back to back without having to stop and get back into position several times. It also then allows me to slow it down and go frame by frame, screenshotting the specific frames that I liked the best. I ended up with far more than I thought I would, so after narrowing it down as much as I could, I popped them into the Snow app that I use for editing pictures and cropped them to size and slapped on that black and white filter. I fell in love with the look of the 2 analog filters I use pretty frequently too, so I did make a few of them in those filters as well. I posted most of these to my Instagram and got a whopping 7 likes on the black and white set and an additional 2 on the colored version, which is the usual amount for pictures of me that I post. I love the way they turned out and definitely liked the results of this shoot more than season 1's. I highly recommend getting dolled up and doing your own photo shoot. It's incredibly fun, and at the end of the day, the only one that has to see the results is you. So have fun with it. that's it for this episode. Sorry for the delay in uploading this one, but we are nearing the finish line, as episode 12 will be the last. If you haven't watched previous episodes, I have a playlist here on my channel covering season 1 and 2, so check that out if you feel like binge watching my shenanigans with this silly little vlog series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the final episode real soon.